What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Lore Reloaded. As always, a pleasure to see all of you fantastic people. I love your faces. I think that's what I'm supposed to say at this point. That's what the cool kids do. And yeah, I love your faces. I'm glad we're all friends, and hopefully one day it'll be more. But you never know. Today we're going to be talking about a couple things. I saw an interesting video that I thought I would go over. I cannot. I'll be honest with you. So there was this this YouTube channel that was suggested to me called Women at War, and I forget exactly why it was suggested. I feel like it was a positive reason that it was suggested. And so I subscribe to them because, you know, if you guys tell me to watch something, usually I'll try to watch something or I'll subscribe to it. And so I subscribed to them, and a video popped up that was kind of interesting, I guess, is how I would put it. They have this segment saying, "I quit Star Trek," specifically called "Why Do We Quit Star Trek?" And so they don't quit Star Trek because their entire channel is like dedicated to Star Trek, and they have like websites and podcasts. So I'm fairly certain that they haven't actually quitted Star Trek. But what got me, and what I thought was interesting, is that in the actual one, the reason why they're quitting Star Trek is like they are like the sorry, I'm checking something. They are basically the it's the opposite of the fandom menace. Like the reason why they are quitting Star Trek, the reasons they give are very left-based, very social justice. I wonder if I really think they're probably just talking about the issues and being tongue-in-cheek. I don't know. We're going to take a look at it because I think they bring up some interesting pieces. The stream people, it helps Lore Reloaded out. Like the stream. That's true. If you like the stream, it does help me out quite a bit. But you don't have to. You could dislike the stream if you wanted to. I started a little bit early just to see if anyone would come in or nobody'd watch. I don't know. By the way, give me your guys' opinions on what you think about it. Trek is weird sometimes. It can be weird. It can be. Star Trek is not bigoted. It simply reflects societies seen around the world. Well, if it reflects a bigoted society, would it be bigoted? Or is it reflective? But if it's reflective, isn't it not still bigoted? Think about it. Think about it. All right, we'll take a look at this, see where it goes. Maybe we'll like it, maybe we won't. Maybe you'll get married, maybe you won't. Maybe you'll have a big trust fund. But bet you can't name that song. All right. Sex is a weapon, it's like a drug. It's weird Bones had such hairy forearms as a doctor. Y'all talk about the weirdest, just like the weirdest stuff, just the most odd. All right, I'm gonna start
Why
playing.
can't I see you anymore?
Tell me what you think. That's them versus me. Wow, that's loud.
Do we quit Star Trek?
Here we go.
Why do we do it?
All right, so I'm assuming that came through okay. I mean, if you're looking at the advancements and we're looking at the future, I guess carry arms wouldn't matter because disease is taken down a little bit. Well, yeah, Star Trek is bigoted and racist in universe. They're always calling out stereotypes on each other like it's a normal thing. The universe is supposed to be past that. Okay. Look at the Ferengi Society. Well, I mean, in theory, Star Trek, in theory, you'd have possibly racist and bigoted cultures or videos like the Ferengi or like the Romulans or Klingons, but Starfleet itself isn't. So again, let's take a look at it. You guys give me your opinion. We'll go from it. Did the sound come through okay? for all, like, 2 of you that are watching this. Let me change that word. That word may actually be suppressing the search value. I get the weirdest commercials before your show. Well, Michael Garrick, I don't disagree. Sound is good, but 3 words on the counter point at all Vulcan starship. But 3 words on that counter point all Vulcan starship. What the hell are you? What counter? I'm so confused. All right, here we go.
We're live. Hi, I'm John.
Hi, I'm Olivia.
And this week in our IDIC Podcast Festival episode, we're going to ask the big question, which is, why do we quit Star Trek?
Why do we do it? Why do we put ourselves through the pain? What do we gain?
Well, for those of the uninitiated, we are I Quit Star Trek, a weekly podcast where we take, how do we put it, Olivia?
It's funny. I changed the word bigot to bad, and on the counter goes up. I swear to God, the YouTube algorithm.
The worst.
We take the painful episodes. I mean, it's not all pain. It's just
it's mainly pain.
Star Trek needs to be criticized, and that's where we step in and do our moral duty.
Yeah,
moral duty. You morally have to shut down shows. You morally have to criticize them. You have to come after. I know that's a little bit nitpicky. I'm not necessarily too. I'm not going to begrudge that too much. I do think, while that was said tongue in cheek, I think we do have a problem with people feeling like they have to go out of their way to point out negative things. Like they have to go and they have to find it. It's also interesting that they have the IDIC symbol in the top right-hand corner. Anyway.
And that's the thing. If we take an episode and we run through why it's horrible, and we ask, are we going to quit at the end? And that's a big question for Trekkies. Why are we going to stop watching this wonderful show? But why do we do it? But I think to start this off, we're going to have to ask, why, Olivia, did you say those fateful words in the first place?
Alex Bogey, what's with the he, they, and she, her? Well, just so you don't know, Alex, in this modern day and age, some people can self-identify. They're given that right. Thank God we live in a country where you can self-identify as whatever makes you feel the best, whatever you really can come to terms with. And in an attempt to ensure that people are comfortable and that you treat someone the way they want to be treated, the golden rule for those who are Christian, they have what they can be referred to. So John can be referred to as he or his, or they or them. Olivia can be referred to as she or her. Or maybe he wants you to be referred to as he and they. That doesn't make a ton of sense to me, but maybe that's what they or him are going for. I'm not sure. Luckily, we're all pretty diverse here. We all have open minds, and we're going to be okay with that because there's really no reason to get upset about it. But I'm glad you asked, Alex.
Okay, it was all Dukat's fault. Let's establish who started this. You know, I think the first time I quit, I'm trying to think what it was. I think it's when I found out it was when I found out he slept with Kira's mother. Or assaulted Kira's mother, rather. And I was just like, I resigned. I quit Star Trek. Like, his presence, this Diplodocus hoe of a person, this reptile, this sauropod, is my worst enemy. And
so, just to answer your question, no. People have been referred to as they, them since the 18th century, I think. It hasn't ever been as prolific as it is now. It hasn't been overused as it is now, but people have been referred to as they, them. It's especially done when you don't know the gender of someone. Like, for instance, someone named Alex. That could be male or female. If you're not sure, you could say they. It's been something that's been done for a while. I know Anti-Trekker. says that that's not the case. He's wrong, and that's okay. He's allowed to be wrong. Cardassians were meant to be reptiles. We are live, so remember that. Okay. What's up? Come on, you can come here. We're just live. I don't want you to say anything you don't need to online. What's up?
I got a question.
Okay, what question do you have?
When are you gonna get my skin character?
When am I gonna get your what?
Skin, the
Oh,
skin.
your skin from Minecraft? Been trying to figure that out. I got another option that I'm gonna try to do, but
What's another option?
to totally rebuy Minecraft. I don't want to do that though. I'm gonna try though. I'm gonna try something different.
Okay.
But okay, why don't you play Fortnite? All right, so this is honestly why I brought this up, to have this conversation, because it's an interesting one. This entire webisode or podcast or whatever is created to discuss why you would quit Star Trek because of its problematic themes. What's going on, Donovan? Lisa, always a pleasure. And it kind of goes back to people who actually like Dukat too. Like, I'd be curious, and I attempted to reach out to them and they didn't respond, which is fine. I didn't expect them to. But I'd be very, very curious how Olivia would feel about people who actually like Dukat, or try to talk about the positives or why he was a boon or a good person for a Cardassian. Because it's something that is just eating the Trek fandom alive, I think. You have people who, and it's on both sides. Someone, like, for instance, you'll have someone, a critic of Trek, come on and say, well, there's too much diversity and they're only pandering to the LGBT plus, and it's just, that's when I stopped watching Star Trek. I stopped watching Star Trek when they stopped making what I consider Trek, and they started pandering. That was my stop watching Trek moment. And then you have people who are just like, well, now you have Dukat, and Dukat is just this cad, this evil person. He assaults people. He was a part of the occupation, and so I can't watch it because of that. And it's really kind of the same, a different side of the same coin to a degree. There's something that you find problematic with it, and you have to stop. You have to just let it go, I guess. And it's really it's curious to me to understand that, and to see the two sides really go at it. And I'm kind of curious about your guys' thoughts on that, because I know you're going to justify your individual take on it. Like, for instance, I'm trying to think. I'm trying to see if there's anything there. You could say, well, the characters were really written very well in Legacy Trek, and they're not written well in Disco Era Trek, and thereby that makes my argument more valid. Not that anyone said that in the comments, but I did see something about being well written. Or you could say, well, I really think that it's important that we promote positive stuff, that we make sure that diversity and equity is something that's highlighted, and so I can only like Discovery Era. Now, you may disagree with that, but that comes down to opinion. I would say there is some subjective and objectivity there. I think it is possible to be objectively subjective. Dukat was class. Q should bring him back. I don't think they should bring him. I don't think Q's going to bring him back. I have to admit I'm struggling here a bit to understand what the issue is, says Chauncey. Oh, I get to see Olivia for the first time? Okay. What's up, Aurora? If there's someone that, again, I don't think there's a problem if you have someone, a character, and you really just can't enjoy it because of that character. For instance, one of my triggers is, can be, contextually, one of my triggers can be adultery. And so in Orville, Darulio? I can't stand Darulio and who everything Darulio stands for. Like that character single-handedly makes Orville a worse series for me. I'm not saying that I can't watch it or I hate it or whatever, but he really brings it down for me. Because he commits assault upon people. Basically the same thing as if he was drugging them or getting them drunk. He arguably destroyed a marriage, and he gets away with it. And it's okay. There's nothing wrong with it. He doesn't warn people he's drugging them. He doesn't warn people that he's getting them drunk. And then he takes advantage of them. And that's okay. And he destroyed a marriage because of it. Someone cheated on somebody else, and it just utterly just wrecked the marriage. I don't like that character. I don't like the way that character was written. I would be okay in watching that character get killed by the, they're not Cylons. What the hell were they? The Kalons? I'd be okay with that. In fact, I would almost be okay with the Kalons winning. I would almost be okay with the Kalons winning if it meant his destruction. But that's just me. That character, because of who that character is, because of my history, that character really hurts the show for me. So when Olivia comes on and she says, well, this character does this, and that really hurts the show for me, I don't necessarily think that's a negative thing. I can disagree with it. I can talk about or speak to why it should be okay for that character to be there. But people get hypersensitive about it. I'll say something else that doesn't understand. How do you watch my channel and not and get I don't know how to say this and not be insulting. This is a channel where someone who puts their personal pronouns I'd be okay with that. And if that's what they like and makes them feel better, I would support that. And I really, if someone had a huge issue and made a huge deal about it, probably wouldn't like the response to the idea about it. I don't understand that either. But anyway, each person has their own reasons, but it's wrong to project those reasons on others. But how is it projecting those reasons on others, Squeezegar2322, if that is your real name? I don't necessarily understand how that is. She's just saying that I don't like this and I don't want to watch it because of that. It's just the same as, and tell me, I would be very curious how I am. Wow, can I talk? I'd be very interested in how it's different when someone who is an extreme critic says, I feel like they're putting down white people, so I can't watch it for that. How's it any different? If you don't enjoy it, you don't enjoy it. In fact, you could even call it a bad thing. There is no racism in Star Trek because they have moved beyond isms in the 24th century because nobody gets offended by it in the future. Unfortunately, the writing isn't reflective of that. Humanity is largely racist against Ferengi. Or speciesist, if we want to go that way. Bigoted, we'll say. It's a better word. If you know me so well, but who doesn't know you? Should Waltz have been Dukat's swan song? I'm racist towards Klingons. Should Waltz have been... Let me make sure. No, Waltz was was the destruction of the character. Waltz destroyed Dukat. They specifically went out of their way to do Waltz because too many people sympathized with Dukat. It was single-handedly one of the worst pieces of writing that was ever put on by DS9 writers. Like, single-handedly. I cannot stand it. I cannot stand the meaning of it. I cannot stand the reasoning behind it. It is so frustrating. It was a very good... Waltz is... Lorca is to the Mirror Universe arc what Dukat is to Waltz. Absolutely. I mean, all full stop. Do we know that early TNG's obvious bias towards Ferengi has anything to do with race or species, or more of a hatred towards capitalism? Wendell 406. Anytime they speak towards Ferengi. They don't speak towards capitalism. Part of the problem with bigotry is that you take a negative let's assume that capitalism is negative. They do. They assume capitalism is negative. You take a negative aspect and you put it on a people, and you don't look at the person. You don't judge them by the content of the character, but by the stereotype. So in both The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine, because if you will remember, our boy Sisko did not want his son interacting at all with Ferengi. If you put both of those together, and shall we not forget Voyager, where the Ferengi were treated pretty subpar by the humans in that one as well. So if you put all three series together, they are definitively bigoted towards Ferengi. Gets a lot better in DS9 because they learn the errors of their way, but absolutely. Even if we say that they don't hate the Ferengi, they hate capitalism, again, they assume Ferengi means capitalism. They don't get to know the person first. Oh, Laura, I just want to say thanks for the relationship advice you gave me a few weeks ago. My wife hasn't mouthed off since. What did I tell you to do? Was it hostile? I probably told you to do something hostile. It sounds like something I'd do. Tribalism is a part of human nature, and all the isms are an expression of human tribalism. I don't think it can ever be fixed. I hope it could be fixed. I really, honestly hope it could be. I would love for us not to be tribalistic. I think we got the internet too fast, though. Someone said that to me. I thought about that. I really, really took it to heart. We got it too fast. Meanwhile, on Navarre, what happened on Navarre? I'm confused. Nah, Christopher. Christopher, that is not why he didn't want him to interact. He specifically talks about how he is a Ferengi. Sisko talked about how he didn't like him because he was a Ferengi. I mean, it's cool. We can try to rewrite what actually happened, but it was because he was a Ferengi. And I agree. Jake was actually the good influence on Nog. Maybe we just shouldn't have been allowed to chat rooms on the internet. Just information and video chat. Maybe. That's my view on capitalism, to be honest. Accumulation is in our nature, but Trek would disagree with me on that. Depends on which Trek you're talking about. Again, in DS9, they make a great argument for that. Dukat was a realistic portrayal of Nixonian and or sociopathic politician. He can be admired for patriotism and valor prior to sacrifice of angels. Yes and no. Wow, you got so close taking down Jennifer. Yes and no. It comes down to a really interesting argument. What's up, Cinnabon Bunny? Hope you're doing well. Always a pleasure to see you. You got Ariel in the house. There are generally always good aspects to a complicated and good character. just like what's portrayed in real life. But it's really hard to say that X was had good aspects, and people not associate you assuming all of them were good. If we believe what he told us, what Dukat told us, he literally was the best of the worst for the Bajorans. But that's a very hard thing. See, that's going to get pulled. I'm gonna be on Reddit again. Watch. I would bet you money. Do you guys know my videos are banned on the Star Trek Reddit? I mean, I'm sorry, I'm going way off topic. I just thought that's interesting because I'm so problematic and I make hateful videos. You can't post my specific videos on the Star Trek Reddit. That's crazy. I am getting near 100K, thank you. It's probably going to take forever to get the last few hundred because it has been going so slow. Some idiot's going to pull a pre-Dune and try to take over everyone with a virus to control their neural links. Okay. I guess I don't watch Dune. Sorry guys, I don't watch Dune. I'm live right now, just so you know.
I just heard something about viruses doing weird things.
Yeah, taking over people.
Yeah.
What's up, beautiful?
I just like hearing about weird conspiracy theories.
Oh, it's not a conspiracy. There's a thing called Dune, and there's apparently a virus that just take over people, make them do weird stuff. Like you can control them.
The only thing I'm getting is the Sims mother plant in the Paranormal Investigators mod.
What's the Sims Mother's plant? What is that?
It's a mod. It's basically an evil alien plant that's trying to take over humanity. The typical
Is it in Sims 4 or what?
Yeah, it's in Sims 4.
Oh, cool.
I have no idea what game you're talking about.
It's not a game. It's a video. It's a series.
I'm going to leave.
Yeah. Hey, don't look it up. It's not a good series. Okay.
I wasn't going to.
Hey. Hey. I love you. A character who's best of the worst is going to create discussion. Why didn't the writers expect that? With you since 30K, greetings from the future. What's going on, random menace in this house? Yeah, man, things have changed so much since 30,000. It's been crazy. Your daughter should read 3 Body Problem by Sixin Liu. Is that okay? Sorry for the bad timing on my part. What bad timing are you talking about? Oh, it's not bad timing. That's fine. I mean, there wasn't anything negative or anything. We can talk about Dune with her. I just don't want her to read it right now because of some stuff. Dukat did nothing wrong. He didn't do nothing. He's a good boy. Thanks so much for supporting the channel, guys. Only way I keep the lights on. I just got Rugrats Search for Reptar today. Good fun for the little ones would like. What's that for? What is it like? PlayStation? It's an amazing sci-fi novel. Okay, we're reading 2 different things here. Dukat was misunderstood, guys. People just didn't understand him. Dukat was a fairly evil person. Of all the evil people in all the world. He did a lot of bad things. But again, if they had to have an evil dictator, assuming we believe Dukat, he was probably the best. He was the emissary of the true gods of Bajor, the Paw race. He was. Hey, he did a lot of bad things, but did one good thing. He killed Dukat. Who killed Dukat? Did Dukat kill Dukat? Kind of got weird when they had Dukat become what did they make him? The evil version of the prophet? Yeah, that's what I was saying, Ariel Bella. We talked about that just a minute ago. In Waltz, they destroyed his character. They absolutely just devastated it. He stopped being Dukat at that point. He really, really did. And that's one thing I cannot it's so frustrating for me because after Waltz, it might as well just be a random bad guy. It really should. And the only reason they did it, and they admit this, is because people were starting to sympathize with Dukat. Someone else pointed it out. That was a perfect time to explore that. Like people are saying that Dukat's a good guy, that they kind of understand where he's coming from. And you wrote him to basically be the Cardassian Hitler. All right, they think he's a good guy. Let's put some of those scenarios in there. Let's be a little bit more forward with it. Let's explore. Let's see how much of a good guy you really think he is. And in fact, I would probably have one of the main cast argue with another of the main cast. Someone trying to talk about why he's positive. How would you rewrite Waltz, and then what would Dukat's role have been in the final arc? Thanks for supporting the channel again, by the way. I probably wouldn't have had Waltz. At least, there's nothing in Waltz I would have rewritten specifically. Because I wouldn't have had Waltz as an episode. One second. Let me change the title. I would have again did what I said just before. I would have explored the character. Now, I probably would have had him captured too. I would have went with that. And then I would have had him defend himself and had an actual honest to God discussion. Maybe even a court case. Do another court where he is put on trial and there's a chance that he will get off scot-free. That he didn't do anything wrong, that he committed no war crimes, and have them debate. And ultimately, it would take some work, but I would write it where it's not good enough to be the best of the worst. You have to be above the worst. You can't, when you're a part of the system, that only goes so far. It kind of goes back to that conversation with the guy who was pretending to be, and I forget the name of it, but the guy who was pretending to be an evil camp. He pretended to be a dude who was head of a camp of Bajorans, and he wanted to be killed so that there could start healing between Cardassia and Bajor. And in fact, I'd even bring that up, or bring that character back, and to have that discussion. Because I think that you have quite the opportunity. Did he commit any war crimes seriously during the Dominion War? Goldar Hill, that's who it was. Did he commit any war crimes during the Dominion War? I don't know. Did we see him commit any war crimes? Here's the thing. Let me know, guys. Did he commit any war crimes? Because we can go either way. Honestly, it might be better if he didn't. Kai Wynn is a traitor and is worse than Dukat. Kai Wynn was a tool. The prophets used Kai Wynn. They are as guilty as he is. He was killed by a Bajoran. If Bajor saved his life somehow, he could have come back from prison for being a clerk. Oh, that's right. They killed him in the end. That's unfortunate. But, I'd keep that. I wouldn't remove that to bring him back. I would talk about it, though. Give me a second, guys. Okay, so, sorry, that was actually related to something that is time sensitive. So, if I were to do it, I, honest to God, would have it so they don't have anything on him. That they at no point think he is guilty. Or they think he's guilty, but they don't have anything to punish him by. He, as far as they can tell on documentation, he's committed no war crime. He's guilty of being a leader of the Dominion, but as a representative of the Cardassians, they don't got anything on him. Stick with me here. Now, what they try to do, since they don't have anything on him at the moment, what they try to do is they try to punish him for what he did during the occupation. And now we're off to the races. That would be what I do on Waltz. Now we are off to the races. Because we have the conversation, well, should we be trying him for something we wouldn't have tried him without the war? Should we put a man to death that we know is guilty, or not death, but should we put this person to, they wouldn't put him to death probably. Should we convict a person on something that we can't really convict him on because we can't get him on what he actually did? I'm not completely sure how I would end that episode, though. For me, he would have to be guilty. But I'm not completely sure. Huh. I don't know. What are your guys' thoughts? And I'm sorry, I'm trying to do this while I'm sitting here talking to you because this is time sensitive. Oh, I was going to say, that should have worked. That's what they told me would work. Trek was kinder to fascism than it was capitalism. I don't know about all that. Send him to a Bajoran prison where he has to slowly give up what makes him Cardassian. Do you need to check on the background squills? Yeah, I'm checking on the background squills right now. That's why I'm having this conversation with you guys. How could there have been war crimes when there's never been a war? What are you talking about? We were talking about the Dominion War. That's what he was tried for, the Dominion War. He would have been found guilty by that trial, yes. By that trial. Was my thoughts on the Federation joining the Galactic Empire for protection against the Dominion? I loved it. Yeah, have him break out, but he's in a broken state. Here's my question. And here's where I would get... Do you think there should be an attempt at a redemption arc? Do you think that they should have tried to bring him back? Like saying, making him a better person. Didn't they do that? He was in a broken... They didn't... No, I don't think they ever did that. If the Federation found Dukat guilty of crimes during the occupation of Bajor, then you can argue that the Federation had a right to interfere in the occupation. But they didn't care, and that would be the part. That would be the discussion. They didn't care about it until Homeboy was a part of the Dominion. And now all of a sudden, we have an issue. Now all of a sudden, what he did during the occupation, that's a bad thing. Maybe if all of some Ferengi break him out because they need his help and ID codes to hack an old starship that's Cardassian, well, I guess. I don't think that's what Dukat's character was made to be. What do you think Dukat's character was made to be, Platoon? They had Damar for the redemption arc. No, because Damar had a redemption arc. I don't know. You know what I'd do? I would try to have... So here's where I'd go with that, because I think that's a good point. Both Damar and Dukat would have redemption arcs. Damar would succeed. Dukat would fail. Dukat would try... He would almost be like the Loki of DS9. He would try to become the good guy, but he can't because of the core value of who he is. Who he has become is not surpassable. And so he would ultimately fail, and we would juxtapose that against Damar, who would ultimately succeed. And I would probably kill off both characters. But I would have Damar probably die the same way he did, trying to protect or free Cardassia, and I'd have Dukat fail by becoming greedy. Like, he would think that he's freeing Cardassia, but really he's just doing what he did before. He was made to be a narcissistic leader that thought everyone loved him when nobody did, ending in his downfall. I completely disagree, typical teen. That is not at any point what the character was until Waltz. Waltz rewrote the character to be that, but that wasn't what he was. Dukat was the quintessential Cardassian. He was a patriot, and he was a person that believed in the government, and that the government was always doing good, and whatever pushed the government and his people forward. The government and the culture around it was something he valued. He loved his daughter, and he wanted his daughter to be by his side because his culture and the government told him that's what it needed to be. He had to justify to himself all of the humongous, just bad things that he did because being Cardassian meant to be something superior. And Cardassians would never make mistakes like that. He justified to himself that he was being the most benevolent Cardassian, that they got off, but they were still subpar because they weren't Cardassians. He didn't just follow his government's rules. He embodied them. He believed it's the ultimate toxicity of patriotism. Like, I think that it's okay to be a patriot. I, in fact, am a patriot, even though I make fun of my country. I think the United States has done more good than bad, but it's done a lot of bad. But I think it's a net positive. But you can take that to a toxic point. Like for instance, if you think that your country hasn't ever done anything bad, or you try to justify the bad things. He wanted to kill his daughter. Well, he originally did. And again, but why? Let me ask that. Nobody else answer this. This is for Random Menace specifically. Why did he want to kill his daughter? He was the ultimate super nationalist? I'd agree with that. Dukat was the Cardassian version of a human Picard. I think during TNG, maybe? I don't know what Kira's contagion means, but that's not... Besides, Opalak, I told you not to answer. Nobody answered. And now we're going to have to sit here and wait, and you guys aren't going to watch. And by the way, thanks for waiting on that, guys. That was vitally important. I have been fighting the United States government for the longest time. And apparently that all got fixed, so that was good. I just had to sign some papers. Don't tell me what to do, says Obalak, you don't even. Zial was a liability to his political career. I disagree. The reason why he wanted to kill Zial was because she wouldn't fit into the culture. She couldn't be loved by Cardassians. It would impact his political career, but there was also the piece that she just didn't fit in the culture. And ultimately, his love for her overrode that, but even then, he justified it to himself and said, well, she is going to be loved by the Cardassian people because I am going to be loved by the Cardassian people. And within our culture, if someone is loved by the Cardassian people, if someone is a strong leader, then even those who may be considered lesser will be venerated. Was he a super nationalist? He sided with entities that might have easily killed his own kind. He was. The reason why did he join the Dominion? Because he thought that it was going to make Cardassia dominant again. He was promised the Federation. The Random Menace, she should have become an attorney. Well, thank you for the support. Actually, my mom always told me she wanted me to become a lawyer. She really did. I almost became a lawyer because of that, too. Ye was, as Laura said, he was the embodiment of what patriotism is when it's taken way too far. Yeah, see, but that's my point. I think that they had written him really well, and that he was so nuanced that people just didn't catch it. And for me, if I had that issue, if I was like, all right, I created a Nazi, and people are liking the Nazis, obviously I got to do something to fix that, and I'm all for fixing that issues. But I wouldn't have made him crazy. I wouldn't have rewrote the character. I wouldn't have retconned him. I would have put it in their face. But then the trek you away from Law and Order. He had sent her to some random planet. She came back. Okay. Killing your daughter because she wouldn't fit in? Just send her to some random planet then. Okay, well that's fine. I mean, Japan did that, right? Like Japan, if you were unfit or whatever, they would actually kill. Yeah, hell, they did it in the United States. In the United States, if something was wrong or something, your son or daughter wasn't considered to be a part of the culture, or you brought shame to your family, they did that all the time. So that's not out of the norm. Random Menace doesn't mind me being wrong. I really appreciate that. When I'm wrong and you can tell me that, you're okay with me not knowing what I'm talking about, I respect it. As long as you can be okay with me being wrong, then I really can sleep at night, I mean, I'm just going to be honest with you. That's what I can do. I can sleep at night. See, that's how you respond when someone says that. How about at Dukat's trial, he pleads for forgiveness about the occupation when Major Cura testifies. He says that he was unable to understand them. Well, again, if we were going to do that, I wouldn't actually... I could see that, but we would add it as a part of his redemption arc that was going to fail. He sees how evil he was, but he's never going to be able to break free from it. Damar was, he wasn't. Wayun laughed at him for his expectations of how the Bajoran should see him. Yeah, he was deluded. He was absolutely deluded. Aurora uplinks and... Yeah, but the end result's the same. I don't understand what you mean by that. What do you mean the end result's the same? Why is it bad for an audience to like the Nazi? Writing a character explore the darker sides of human nature, it's good when people like and empathize the exploration, right? Yes and no. If I was... So... I would never want to... I would never want to defend Dukat in a way that made actual, honest-to-God neo-Nazis comfortable. Because I think it's important that we recognize people's faults, and I think it's important that we don't associate goodness with it. And depending on that fault, should be dependent on the overall take of the character. Do I think it's okay to empathize with a true blue Nazi? Or sympathize with him? Yes. But you don't ever want to make it so that what was done can be said to be okay. So he sexually assaulted people. He put people to murder. He murdered people. He executed people. He put people up for execution. And he treated people as slaves. Those are aspects of what he's done, and you can never take that away. But you can also do it in a way where you see that there were good things. Like, you can't excuse the actions, I think. That statement will get clipped by the Phantom Menace. Interestingly enough, I don't think I've ever had the Phantom Menace take me out of... I've never had them take a clip and take me out of context. They've said things that are out of context and not what I meant, but I've never had them take a clip. Lefties do it all the time. Okay, see here, that sounds like an episode that would be epic. Yeah, I think Damar's kind of a good example of that. I actually, yeah, I think Damar's kind of a good. They could have expanded on it a little bit, but Damar is Dukat light, and he venerated Dukat. Like Dukat, he felt the government and the culture was everything. That being Cardassian was everything, and Dukat was this great man. And then he realizes Dukat was a horrific person, and the Cardassia they had was gone. It was so powerful with Kira when he's talking about his family had been murdered. And he's like, what kind of people, like Damar's family was murdered. And he's like, what kind of people would murder my family? And Kira's like, yeah, Dukat, what kind of people would murder innocents? Damar is always going to be someone who was a part of the occupation, who helped murder innocent people. But he tried to change Cardassia into something new. He's tainted, he's stained. Damar is never going to get to be Cisco or I don't even necessarily know that Kira's clean. He's never going to get to be Cisco or Picard. Well, Cisco's not even clean either. He's never going to get to be Picard. Or Bashir. He's never going to get to be the penultimate good guy. But he did everything he could to change what had happened. Who are you responding to, Donovan? No, he's talking about We Are Starfleet. Who are you responding to? Is the PM just your lefty competition or something? PM. Who's PM? No, I'm talking about We Are Starfleet. Yeah, the movement We Are Starfleet. Talk to you later, Locutus. Lockbeard, that's got blocked. Why is the Trek Yards guy such an a-hole or a jerk? I don't know. I don't think he's a jerk. I mean, he's similar to me. We have same. I guess he's just a good boy. The Fandom Menace. Oh man, they're as right as you can get. I know they say they're left. They're not. You can watch their stuff. They're not. They are as left leaning as I don't know. Trump is eligible to be president right now. Not eligible. Trump is actually the president right now. I think the title Nazgul is overused. Nazguls are a religion over anything. If it is one thing to claim someone and things are fascist, but Nazguls is a specific time. The hell are you people talking about? There are two Trek Yards people. I don't know which one he's talking about, but both have similar... well, not both. I think he's talking about, if I had to guess, Captain Foley, who has a similar temperament to me. And so, I don't know. I think he's fine. Did you do something to piss him off? Because, I mean, if you pissed him off and he came back at you, then it's, it's just the way it is, lads. Just the way it is. Every president keeps the title once they've been, I think. No, they become the former president or ex-president. Lockbeard, I don't know what you're talking about. Can you give me what he said or what was done, and then I can tell you my thoughts on it? I can get my head out of trolling mode after a month of mixing it up with turfs. I don't even know what the hell. So, what I love about you guys is that I'll start talking about something, and then you guys are just whatever you want to talk about. It's not about what's happening on screen. It's about what's happening in there. So, the Romulans are the best allies since they won't blue ball you. I don't know. Don't piss people off. I mean, if you don't want to get... I enjoy pissing people off, man. I literally... I cannot even tell you guys how fun it is for me to piss off stupid people. I get way too much enjoyment out of it. But if you don't like the backlash that's going to happen, then I would suggest not doing it. What's going on, Crowley? So hope you're doing well. I just don't want to write the name down. Just saying it can hurt the channel. Nazgul is the safe name for the dominant religion of the 1940s. Oh, yes, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes. Okay. I could get demonetized. You could actually, the algorithm could stop doing it. So I got what you're saying. Lore gets stronger. I do, man. I do. I get revved up. If it's someone stupid. I don't like, interestingly, I don't like pissing people off if they're coming in good faith or if they are someone who isn't dumb. And if I upset someone that I think is coming in good faith, that bothers me. Luckily for me, the internet is 98% people in bad faith and or people who are stupid. So it's like jumping. It's like loving Jello and jumping into a sea of Jello with just a little bit of water there. You can't say that word either. Unfortunately, remitting. Heyo, just started watching your stuff. Nazguls and turfs are Garbo. I generally agree with that for sure, especially since Matt Garbo, hey, just as Garbo. Only a few people will get that. I enjoy your Trump digs. Well, I attack lefties too, so don't feel bad. Unless they're California. Man, Californians are freaking crazy, man. I still get hate from Californians because of the video I did recently. Well, the Starship breakdown. And I've been interacting with Californians, and they are a different bunch, shall we say. Just say Cardassians. The internet is 99.99% trolls. That's true. We can talk about a lot of bad things, but not a historical movement from the 30s and 40s. I'm with you, typical teens. The fact you know that mustached man in the 1940s that the United States didn't think was going to be a problem. You can't say his name without worrying about it. Putting the movement in can actually get you in trouble. And in fact, certain slurs that are said, if you type them and I don't ban you, literally my channel could be shut down. That's not even a joke. I've confirmed it. I'm quite far right and a vegan, so sometimes I get into spicy conversations. So look, I'm going to be honest with you. Animals are delicious. Like, I cannot tell you how much I love eating animals. It is just one of the greatest things on God's green earth. But I really have a hard time justifying it. I really think everyone should be vegan, honestly. I think it would help our earth out a lot more. There is animal cruelty. I mean, there just is. But man, are animals delicious. I cannot tell you how delicious animals are. I love animals. Bacon is proof God loves me. It's true. Hey, what's up, buddy? He eats meat too. He knows what I'm talking about. Cats are carnivores. Of course, we can enjoy these kinds of characters. No one's evil, but it's needed. But when they are forced to face what they are, they're not the hero, and they break down. It's fascinating. Yep. You can't even say WR. I don't know what WR is. I'm not sure that I want to. I've done some polls pitting various ships against others, and the Cardassians always come out as losers. Well, they are. They suck. Oh, God. What are you doing, buddy? Maybe you guys should try being nice. What if you make a future Star Trek? Oh, dude, I have lost all opportunity with CBS. Yeah, I went through a phase of basically a fandom minute phase, and I was not kind to Discovery when it came out. I was going through some real personal hardships, and it was bleeding into what I did here, and I didn't really realize it. And there is no way I will ever work. So that ship has sailed, and so I really, honestly, and I'll say this. The other thing to that too is I really take to heart what Jean-Luc Picard said in TNG Season 1, Episode 1. If we're going to be damned, let's be damned for who I am. If me being me means I'll never be on CBS, then at least I died being me. At least I failed being me. If I have to create a channel where it's not me, and I pretend I'm something I'm not, maybe I'll get more money, maybe I'll get on CBS, but you guys won't ever really know who I am. And I am not okay with that. I would rather be known. I would rather you see me. We all make mistakes, e.g. whilst watching this, I grilled a burger, toasted a bun, blended some chili peppers, put it with some lettuce, onion slices, and cheese, then dropped it on the floor. You can still eat it. Go ahead. It's fine. COVID actually it can't be on floors. That is science. So don't worry about it. See here says my channel is better with a cat. Well, thank you. I appreciate that. You can go to hell. The Cardassians do suck, and I think that's because they're very well written, unlike the Klingons, Romulans, who rely on cliches. They were kind of cliche-ish. Disco was garbage, but not SJW. It's just out of character for the canon. I mean, using a space bug to use FTL travel. They use a lot more stupid stuff for FTL travel in some instances. I mean, I understand. If you don't like it, that's fine, but they did some stupid stuff. COVID only works when you're standing up in restaurants. Another truth. Throw in some facts. No, actually, no. No, COVID is very dangerous while standing up. I'm just kidding. Please, God, don't ban this channel. In all seriousness, as much as I'd like to joke about that, no. I'm just if you want to know what COVID is, go to Fosse, listen to everything he has to say. I completely believe that COVID is real, and I think that everyone should get a vaccination, and God bless Fosse. And the only thing I regret is that I'm not able to copulate with him. It is another band topic. No, I can't even joke about it. I actually am pro vaccination and very much the science of COVID. But I can't even joke about it. Like, they will literally shut down channels. The mythical art of Fosse. But seriously, if I could give that man a good time, I absolutely would. It totally groggy. It totally affected and made me groggy. Well, don't take it. Don't get a shot and then go drive. They even tell you not to do that. They say that it can negatively impact you. Oh, I'm a huge lefto and Fosse is lying? Maybe. Would Star Trek benefit from giving the onboard whales screen time? Absolutely it would. I think I'm going to end it there, guys. Thanks so much for coming. Thanks for watching. As always, it is my pleasure to entertain you. Whatever you do, hey, go out there and make the world a better place. Move a Californian out of California. By doing that, you've improved the world by one person. And if we could get one California out, if all of us did that, California would have no power, and it would be a better place. Oh, well, I'm sorry, they would have no political power. They already don't have any power because they don't know how to use their grid. Losers! Losers!